Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again, it's time for my client Paolo's vlogs. And again, as you guys know, he's a skinny hard gainer. You kind of guys know the backstory there from the original one. We've been working on his nutrient deficiencies, gaining weight, and keeping him on, again, a very, very basic routine here to where I've cut his volumes way down because he was doing way too much overtraining, had nutrient deficiencies, all sorts of problems, right? All sorts of problems. But we've worked on that, and his benching was a little rough this week. This is the hardest week in the wave because we're at 95% training max. We try to get 1+ rep. He got 2 on his bench, right? He got 2 on his bench, and that was actually the worst of his lifts this week, right? It was the worst of his lifts. So it's not too bad. And as I've told him, he's going to have to keep gaining weight. Like he's skinny, he's underweight. He doesn't always believe that, by the way. Again, he thought last time he bulked and didn't really make gains that he got fat. Now he did gain fat because he bulked way, way, way too quick. But then he also made the mistake of cutting down way too much. Again, one of the problems with a lot of the skinnier hard gainers or skinny fat guys and everything else they have is they freak out if they bulk sometimes and then they cut too much and they don't have any muscle to cut to. And then they basically just keep starting over and over and over. So this time I'm having to explain to him, look, we gain slowly, right? We gain slowly, a couple pounds a month. That's like 1 kilo a month in his case, right? That's it. That's all we need to gain. We gain that. We train with appropriate volumes, appropriate programming. You'll get bigger and thicker everywhere. But in this case, he spent over a year at this point spinning his wheels, right? And still doesn't have his noob gains. So what's his bench day look like? Our standard 3-week wave, followed by 5x10. Then we do inverted rows and we do dips, right? Inverted rows and dips. That's all he needs. That's all he needs. And I let him do dips because he likes doing dips. I could just as easily put him on something else. I could even take that away and say, we got plenty of chest work. We have 8 sets for chest. Just do some triceps. I could do that to him also. I don't think he'd like it though. I need to leave some of these big lifts in for him. But again, to me, this is still, relatively high volume because, we do the 3 ramp up sets. We do the 5x10, and then he's doing 3 sets of dips. He's doing 3 sets of dips after. Although I don't know what these are. These don't look like dips. Well, I guess he's up on the dipping bars. They're higher up. Gosh, we were running into some camera footage angles, and he needs to learn to get his camera a little further away if he can. But if you do the math on that, that's around 11 total sets of chest pressing. Right? That's plenty. You shouldn't even need more than that. Like if you're needing more than that, there's specific reasons for a pretty advanced lifter. Right? We're dealing with weak point training in that point. It's 11 sets. Same thing with his squatting. He ended up getting like 3 reps here at 95% training max. So this is doing decent. Right? He's getting a little better, getting those arms down. Look, we're keeping those elbows down better. Again, something we really needed to work on. But again, we've got to build more meat up top for his upper back for that shelf. All right? So we have that. And we kind of do the same thing here, don't we? It's about 11 sets. I mean, some of them we could argue as to the quality of the work sets, the first set or 2, maybe. But 11 sets, 10 to 11 sets is what we can count it as. If we want to call it 10, that's fine. Because we do the squats and we do back off squats. And then he does goblet squats. I could throw him on a leg press machine just as easily there at this point. Right? I would have no issue with that. Even make him do some posterior chain work instead. But, this gives us plenty of quad work. We've got a lot of quad work. Since he is in a surplus, I do want to make sure that volume there is there. Right? I sometimes get away with less quad volume than this, but, my quads grow easy. So, again, we're around that point, really close to about 10 sets. And if we're going over about 10 to 12 work sets for a muscle, you better have a good reason. Not just because, well, I think I'll just get more general gains. No, better have a reason in your programming. We didn't get a lot of footage for his overhead press day, but it's pretty straightforward, really. We do the same thing that we do with the overhead press. Right? We do the standing press. And then he does 5 sets of inverted rows again. And why the inverted rows? Because he's a lighter guy. He can do them. Not a problem. He's not strong enough to do pull-ups or chin-ups yet. If he were, I'd have him doing those. As he gains strength on the inverted rows, though, we may get strong enough to be able to at least do chin-ups. Right? We could at least do chin-ups at that point. He doesn't have any single joint exercises. He doesn't need them. Right? He needs to eat. He needs nutrition, and he needs just good progressive programming on some big basic movements. And notice that pretty much everything he does, other than the goblet squat, is a barbell movement or some calisthenics type movement, right? Everything we do, it's a big barbell lift or his body's moving through space. Because that's all he needs right now. Like he's got to eat, he has to grow, and he has to recover. And he has a lot of tendon issues. We're going to have to be careful of single joint exercises. He has tendons and stuff that hurt. In fact, we were already talking about we need to probably deloading this next week. Because he's getting tendons and stuff in his arms that hurt. And that's without adding a bunch of single joint stuff. And just the big movements alone. And again, common with a lot of my guys who've been skinny in the past, as you guys know from Robert's vlogs. It's very common. And that's how you have to deal with these guys who've been really skinny, especially if they have weak tendons and things. Or in the case of, malnutrition. In his case, he was extremely deficient in vitamin C when we looked. Well, that explains why he has tendons that hurt. Right? That affects collagen synthesis negatively. Can't build tendons. And if we can't build tendons, our body's going to struggle to let us overload, isn't it? Struggle to let us grow. So we have to deload more often for him. We've got to let those tendons heal. We've got to build them up. I may have him start adding some extra band work in too. We may need to discuss that, with some of the tendon issues now that he's getting sufficient vitamin C and everything. Now, overhead press went good. We got 4 reps today on that. And then, of course, we got 3 on the deadlift. The deadlift form, it's improved slightly, but it still needs obvious work. Right, we're still having that issue of the butt rounding under. And a lot of it has to do with setup. And I've told him, like I tell a lot of my guys, a lot of these guys I have to get them to the gym and get them on the phone and walk them through it. Now, his setup there is a lot better. So the setup, pretty good compared to how it was before. Right? A little bit of lumbar rounding. A little bit of lumbar rounding still. And again, it's because he struggles a little bit, but he's wedging into that position a little better now, though. I mean, it has improved. It's not perfect. But I think we could say in the last couple of weeks in the vlogs here that we have seen improvement. All right, we've seen it. And then his deadlift day, we do the same sort of thing. What do? We do deadlifts. Then I have him do good mornings. And this ends up being, because we do, I do only 3 sets of the deadlifts for him. I don't make him do 5. So it balances out just like the others. About 10 quality sets for his hamstrings, and posterior chain, low back, all of that. Right about where we want to be. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.